Hello everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on June 19th, 2014. And, you know, I thought Slammiversary was an okay pay-per-view. It just didn't feel like it was a special event or anything like that. It didn't feel like it was a pay-per-view. It just felt like an elongated Impact that was at least good. This episode of Impact just sucked. And I guess it's just mainly on the aspect that the entire storyline around the entire show, which was basically MVP's abuse of power and everything, and you find it, you find it weird that he's trying to play a straight and narrow character at the pay-per-view and trying to appease the quote-unquote board of directors in this case, that if you really actually believe any of that, to go along with it. And then the very next episode of Impact, he's like, okay, I'm just going to do whatever basically whatever I want to do. And even there, it shows that he doesn't fully have full control over the entire show, because Kenny King makes himself a match with Eric Young for the World Heavyweight title. It's like, okay, there's no point of really doing that. Why doesn't MVP just, like, Kenny King has been showing that he's been like this hot-headed type of character, and will just say something and will get himself put into, or get himself or MVP or Bobby Lashley into situations they don't necessarily want at that point. Why doesn't MVP just override him at that point, at that area, and just say, no, you're not having this match? But yet, here you go. And of course they kept Bobby Lashley and MVP out there, and that led to the whole everybody Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, and the Wolves coming out there to help Eric Young during the match, and not necessarily interfere, just prevent interference from the other two. The match there was an okay one. Again, it was a really short match, and honestly, probably there was only a few matches that I actually really liked, and that was both of the Wolves tag team title matches. They were at least they're well done. They gave them a decent amount of time, and they came off as decent, at least good matches. But in retrospect, they were also a part of that horrible storyline that they're going with MVP just running amok and basically abusing his power. I mean, he goes out there, he intimidates the Bellman after the match with Kenny King and Eric Young, and then they have him fire Earl Hebner, and then basically bribe off Brian Hebner. It was just bad the way they were going about it. Again, the second match with the Wolves and Magnus and Bram, it was a pretty decent match. It was fun to watch, and of course they tie that into the entire main storyline of the night, which was MVP's deal by Magnus and Bram getting DQ'd, and then they do a backstage statement. It's like, oh, we didn't want to win the match. We just got paid to hurt the Wolves. Okay, you were really... They could have, you could have been paid to hurt the Wolves, gotten the tag titles. It was like, win the tag titles, hurt the Wolves, and there you go. That's at least the logical way I think of it. No, it's like, no, we'll just get ourselves DQ. Okay. We'll just go with the nonsensical way of going with most things throughout the night. And this one leads me into, which was probably, even though like the first segment, you had MVP out there for like the first good half an hour of the show, with the world title match, and then the subsequent promo afterwards as well. This also led to probably the second longest segment of the show, and also probably the most useless part of the show, which was the Dixie Carter segment with Tommy Dreamer. Obviously, and they're basing this off of the Twitter stuff that had been happening, where she had actually had some of the people pulled from his independent show inside the Pennsylvania area, and they actually went off and used that for their TV show. It's like, why are you even promoting this in any way? I mean, you have Tommy Dreamer come out there, and he puts out a decently a decently good shoot style promo to Dixie Carter, which of course just leads to him getting low bloated in the end. But why are you having Tommy Dreamer do this? Why can't you have somebody from within the company, someone that's usually been really close with Dixie Carter, as one of the faces, come out there and say these exact same things? No, you have to bring in Tommy Dreamer to do this. I know it kind of plays off of the Bully Ray thing a little bit, but or pretty much a lot in that case because of their history. But you could have continued playing off that Bully Ray aspect with one of your own guys, yet you bring in Tommy Dreamer, someone who's promoting another, independent promotion while he's in there. And the segment was long, drawn out, and quite frankly useless. Which leads to the main event of the night, which was another world title match with Bobby Lashley and Eric Young. MVP, of course, playing the whole abuse of power, kicks everybody out of the arena with the exception of the announcers, the referee, Eric Young, Bobby Lashley, Kenny King, and himself. Which basically, they finally get they basically finally get what they want, and Eric Young and Bobby Lashley ends up beating Eric Young, which was probably one of the quickest, a very quick match again. Just like the Kenny King match, it was very quick. It was an okay match, but nothing really special. Probably under 10 minutes again. And they finally kind of got that, the quote-unquote power, the full power of everything. Like MVP has the director of wrestling operations, Bobby Lashley has the world titles. Like, they have all the power now. And, I think this would have been a good point to just, end the show with that. Just having them finally standing tall. Instead, they bring in Bobby Roode at that point. And, it's nice to see Bobby Roode back in there, but they could have waited a week to have him come back in. And, start whatever feud he's probably going to start with Bobby Lashley at that point. Or Kenny King or MVP or whoever he's going to be feuding with. Well, he can't be MVP because he still has the knee injury, but whoever he's going to be feuding with upon his full return. And they could have waited that week. It would have actually made more sense to, just end the show with them standing tall, and then they decide to take away all that heat from Bobby Lashley getting the World Heavyweight title. The heels are standing strong, and they take that all away by bringing in Bobby Roode at that point. So, honestly, I did not like this Impact. I thought it was bad, pretty much from top to bottom. You had at least some decent matches in there, with the triple threat match with the Wolves, Austin Aries, and Samoa Joe, and Willow and Abyss. I thought that was pretty decent. And then the second tag match with the Wolves and Bram and Magnus, I thought that was a pretty good one, which just begged the other point. You only had 4 matches in the show, and you had basically you had 3 guys within there have 2 matches throughout the night, and you only have 4 matches on the show. So that goes to show how much talking was going on on the show as well, because there wasn't these matches themselves were not that long. So just way too much talking and way too much time wasted in every way, shape, and form. And this was just a bad Impact, at least in my own personal opinion. So yeah, that's my review this week for Impact Wrestling, and I thank you guys for watching.